Hello, family and friends and fangirls from around the world from 15 years ago. What's up? Welcome to the Jackson Galaxy Video Blog. My name's Jackson. This is the Jackson Video Blog. This is my cat Nilla, and the other one is under the bed. That's Little Peep. My hair's grown out since last time I made a video. It grows really quickly, as we all know. But it's been a while since I made a video, in part because there's not really a ton of stuff that really happens to me, so I figure it's not interesting for me, it's not interesting for other people to watch. But that is false logic, right? Like, I can't possibly know what you want to know about my life. Probably nothing, based on the total number of subscriptions and views that I've got over the last 15 years of being on YouTube. I don't actually know if it's 15 years. I stopped counting. But it's closer to 15 than probably any other number. But yeah, so it's just, things are going strangely here as per the usual. Let's go for a walk around the house. So this is the basement. This is where I've lived since, 2012, pretty much. I lived in this house for several months by myself because the only room that was finished in the entire house was this one. And then everything else down here, if you go back in the videos, was torn apart and there were no walls. And then, my parents basically bought and gutted the entire house. And I lived in it during that process. So I've lived here for longer than they have, especially now that I live here alone. I cleaned the kitchen. Look at how nice and clean the kitchen is. It's so well organized. I should turn some lights on though. Shooting a video after all. So my parents moved to Colorado Springs because that's where my brother and his wife live. My mom's permanent live-in grandma nanny for the kids now. And my dad just got a job that pays him twice as much as he was making here for basically doing the exact same job, and they gave him a company vehicle. So they were like, watch the house, we're leaving, bye. So most of it's just empty nonsense. I barely leave my little room and stuff, but I was thinking with some of the new freedoms and stuff that I've gotten, maybe I should get back into streaming or try and make some money some other way. I've tried to brainstorm a couple ideas, but I always have lots of cool ideas, but the execution is always poor, right? That's always the difference. Ideas are free. Any person can come up with an idea for making money, but if you're unable to execute on it, then you can't really do very much. So the only thing that I really had other than that sort of update was I live here alone. Maybe I should just dance around the house and naked all the time. Birthday suit. Got a Warframe shirt on today. The Loki. Actually, I'm just about to go shower, which I should probably... This is the 1000th video I've made where I'm just about to go shower, and I don't know why that triggers something in my brain, you should make a YouTube video. When I should make the video after I shower and shave so I look clean and my hair is not all strange. But whatever. Do you guys need a baby grand? Nobody in my house plays the piano, even when my parents and family and stuff lived here. I don't know why we own this. I was thinking about even selling my guitar because I don't really play guitar. I haven't really played guitar in many years. But it is a cool guitar. Maybe I should keep it. My grandmother made this 100% by hand. And it is an art piece, not to be used as a blanket. Which is why it's hanging on the wall right next to the chair. So you can reach up and grab it and cuddle up with it, but you're not supposed to. I learned that the hard way. Only a couple of years ago. I had no idea that this was, an art piece and not meant to be used as a blanket, being in here with all the couches and the other blankets. So yeah, I live here alone in the house with the 2 cats, just taking care of the house, essentially. It's still winter and the grass hasn't really started growing yet, so like my responsibilities include getting the mail, and that's it. I guess. So it's actually basically what I've always wanted. I just want to do this down where all my friends live. But yeah, so I think the last video I made, I was talking about how like 2017 was like, 2016 was like the beginning of the bad start, and then like 2017 was like the worst year ever, and then 2018 basically all I did is just stuff that is supposed to help you be like happier and healthier and that kind of thing. So like I started running, and I started going to the gym more, and I started doing exercises at home, and I started like meditation, and I started, or just adjusted my eating stuff to be eating more healthy and all that kind of thing. So like, and it basically worked. Basically 2017 was like the worst year ever. Going into 2018 was like really bad and down and negative and bad. And then by the end of 2018, I was like, hey, everything's great. Everything's fine. Everything has basically always been fine, but now I have like the mental capacity and mental agility to be able to deal with the things and accept the stuff that you can't change and change the stuff that you can change. Like, it's all very simple when you try and break it down, but in the moment it's enormously complex, or at least it feels that way, right? So I guess my point in trying to bring that up is that like 2019, I'm 31. I'll be turning 32 in May. And like me at 31 on the outside doesn't really look any different than any other year of Jackson, right? Like even since, when did I buy these? I got these glasses in like 2011 or something. So these are like 6 or 7 years out of prescription now. like even constants like these glasses, right? They make it seem like I'm still, I still got a Warframe shirt on, still always wear pajama pants, still hanging out with the cats. On the surface, it doesn't really look like anything's different or anything's changed, but I think I'm probably the most different this year than I've ever been in my whole life, in terms of just like anything that you could measure, right? Like, I guess overall, if I were to take that personality test thing that I took when I was like just out of high school, in fact, it was basically right when YouTube just started. There's a so basically it's the one and only really scientifically accepted, from like a psychoanalytical standpoint, personality test. It's not like a Myers-Briggs, and it's not like a color theory one. It basically measures things like your temperament and agreeableness and how neurotic you are and all that kind of stuff. I bet that probably hasn't changed very little, if at all. But like, to me anyway, it's amazing how different those same components can add up, right? Like, I am the most different now that I've ever been, probably. So it's good. It's a good thing. I keep talking about it, and like as I hear it come out of my mouth, it sounds negative, but it's like the best thing ever. So yeah, everything's good. Which maybe that's why I've been making less videos, because like I don't really have anything to talk about. I'm interested in a bunch of stuff, but it's always the same stuff that I've always been interested in. So like, I don't know if that's fun to watch or listen to, because I know most people still don't actually watch the videos because nothing visually interesting is happening. What if I do this? Ah, look at my teeth. Is that visually interesting? No? Okay, cool. Moving on. Right? So the stream of consciousness thing is just something to listen to. But like, yeah, I'm doing really good. maybe I should get back into streaming because I've got the time and I can yell as loud as I want and not have to worry about bothering anybody. Maybe I should try and work on the like 3 or 4 businesses that I've come up with, including like 2 brand new ones that I don't think I've talked about on this channel. That's like, maybe I could pull in enough money that way to like do something cool. Did you know if you ever end up with $1 million, whether that be $1 million worth of valuable assets or $1 million cash or whatever else, if you were to invest $1 million into like an unmanaged index fund with like low fees and everything else, that you could retire at any age and comfortably pull in 4% every year, which would be about $40,000, which is more than the average person and like household makes in the state where I live. So like you could live here for super cheap. And like I know members of my family have made $1 million like in their lifetime just by working, you know, a low paying job for a lot of years or whatever. And like that's basically how retirement and that kind of stuff works. And now that I've been made aware of that, like my brain is becoming that guy that like you hear about in TV shows and movies, or everybody's always got that one friend that's like the get rich quick scheme guy, like, hey guys, if we just go, you know, buy a bunch of stuff at Walmart and we can return it to Walmart, but fill the boxes full of bricks and then we can sell the actual products on eBay, we can make twice as much money as we're whatever. Everybody knows a guy like that, that's like the get rich quick scheme guy. And now that I've become aware of like all you need to completely retire is $1 million, which seems like a lot of dollars. But if you add up, you know, how much money you can make, even just working a crappy job and saving it really well, it's really not all that much money. And there's always that sort of colloquial phrase that I've heard a couple different times in different movies again and like TV shows. But also in real life, I've heard it. Ow, ow, hey, that's my foot. Please don't attack my foot. That's not what we're doing here. You just must be bored, huh? The first $1 million is the hardest. As soon as you have $1 million, it's significantly easier to make $1 million, right? So like, if you make $1 million and you have it invested in some smart index funds and you're only pulling 4% of that to live on, that's $40,000 a year. If you make $2 million, that's $80,000 a year. If you make $10 million, that's $400,000 a year. So like, I don't think of money in the same way that other people think of money, that I've come to realize. Because to me, money is not the goal of anything. This is essentially the goal. To basically live like I'm living now. Right? To have like the true neutral idea of like wanting nothing, needing nothing, having, you know, enough to survive and live on. And it's like, by many metrics, I live in like opulent, wonderful, crazy amounts of can't think of the word, like wastefulness, pretty much, right? Like this whole house I live in is completely wasted on me, in part because I have to keep all my stuff downstairs in the basement in storage, and you know, we just leave up all of my family stuff, like family pictures and all this furniture and all this other kind of stuff. Like this would be an amazing room to do like guitar and painting and make it into like an art studio type of thing. And then the room below this one I could turn into like a recording studio for doing like voice acting and video work and that kind of stuff. And then like my bedroom now, it could basically just have like clothing, costume, like closet and that kind of stuff. Kitchen is fine because it's the kitchen. Like I could have a computer office over there and like a whole gaming den downstairs. It's like when I start thinking about the space as I would use it, just because it's available to me now, kind of. It's interesting to see just like how much I could have, but I don't necessarily care about. Like, as far as I'm concerned, as long as I have, you know, am comfortable and fed, like nothing really matters to me much beyond that anymore, which is like a wonderful place to be in, but it makes, you know, being happy makes you a terrible consumer. I can't remember where I heard that. I heard that pretty recently, and I was like, that is true. The idea of like money and moving money from one place to another beyond just the function of, you know, making bartering less cumbersome. Like money isn't an idea, and it shouldn't be your ideal. Right? It's not a goal. If you don't have enough of it, it sucks, of course. And I'm not saying anything about that. But having more than you need to just like be well and like be comfortable and be yourself is not, I don't know, I feel like it sort of introduces more problems than it solves, right? But who knows, maybe if one of my ideas explodes into $1 billion industry and I'm able to pull in 4% of, 4% is just like the minimum that you can predict on some of the index funds I was looking at over the course of like 20 years or something. But yeah, so that's what I've thought about a little bit in the last little while. How are you guys? You guys doing well? I don't really make a lot of videos anymore. In part because I don't really want to be a part of YouTube anymore in a lot of ways. Like, I still consider myself a YouTuber sometimes, but then when I think about it, it's like I never really was a YouTuber. Maybe in the very, very beginning before Google bought it. So like from 2006 to 2008, back when I was able to get, you know, like on the most watched lists and most subscribed to lists with like, you know, 400 subscribers and like 700 views on a video and that kind of thing. And like a lot of those people are still around, and some of them still seem pretty cool and whatever, but like I've never really been a part of the community. I've always been on like the other side of the fence, so to speak, where like, you know, if I'm on the other side of the desk, if I walk into a big office, everybody else gets to hang out on that side of the desk, but I have to stay on this side of the desk. That's always kind of what it's felt like. And I've talked about that a million times on this channel. And so I thought, you know, maybe I could do stuff on Twitch, but freaking nobody watches anything I do on Twitch, in part because what I do is really not that interesting to watch on Twitch. So like YouTube is the place where you go if you want to like follow somebody because you like their personality or their character or the sort of quality of the thing that they're doing. And then Twitch is the place that you go to see them do something specific, right? So like you don't actually follow the people on Twitch, you follow whatever game you like. If you like Tetris, you'll go watch just about anybody play Tetris as long as they're doing it well and, you know, their stream is set up in a way that's not terrible. Hey! Now my other cat's getting into stuff. Walking on the piano. And so like I'm not really good at either, I've come to discover, right? Like the kind of stuff that I do isn't really fun or interesting for anybody other than me, right? Like I like my videos, but that's only because I'm interested in what I had to say, you know, 6 years ago. So it's fun to go back and like watch some stuff. Now basically Marco Polo and Instagram are how I like update stuff. So if you're not my friend on Marco Polo and you don't follow me on Instagram, like basically videos like this where I'm just like yeah, things are good. It's rainy and crappy and cold. How are you? Like little update videos and stuff. The quintessential like video blog, right? The personal life blog. If you're not doing anything like crazy or over the top or amazing anymore, like just normal vlog channels don't even exist anymore. And so like I guess I'm just not a part of YouTube. Plus there's all the like scams and crazy stuff that you see on YouTube and Twitch and from Google and Facebook and everything else. And it's like, yeah, it's really nice not to have to deal with any of that. You know, I've never insulted anybody. I'm not popular enough that even if I were to say something just absolutely terrible on this video blog, it's very likely that no one would ever see it, right? That would be offended by it. And so there's a small bit of comfort in that, honestly, where it's like, yeah, I could make like a terrible, you know, racist joke or something. And even if I, you know, have no intention of like trying to hurt anybody's feelings or marginalize anybody, like most people would ignore it just because they would have never even been exposed to it. And there's some sort of comfort in that to where it's like, yeah, I'm sort of glad I didn't make it on YouTube because now nobody's looking at me and I can get lost in the crowd. All I have to do is take these off and now I'm just generic human number 84. 8 number 18172. Boggy Boy. That was my first username. Boggy Boy 8 number 18172 in Worms 2. I would always create a room called Pooey because I just thought it was easy to type and easy to remember and kind of funny. P-O-O-I-E, Pooey. Yeah, Worms 2. Good old dial-up video game internetery. What the heck was I talking about? So like, oh, you know what I want to talk about? I'm just going to make this like a super long video blog because I don't really make video blogs all that much anymore. Set my glasses there because I think I look actually kind of handsome without those glasses on. I really just need to get contacts again or try and figure out a way to get like eye laser surgery, something. I want to use my one wheel. I still think this is probably the coolest thing that I own. And I still would probably rather have one of these than one of those, which I even put a one wheel sticker on because one wheel. But not about that because it's been rainy and crappy and snowy and I didn't want to get my one wheel all ruined and it's also cold and miserable, so like I can go out and skate for a little while. I call it surfing when I'm on the one wheel. I'm out surfing on the one wheel. It's like super fun. I need to move to LA. This is what I wanted to talk about. Games. Top 10 games that you can play in your head by yourself. #1 bestseller. Edited by Sam Gorski and D.F. Levitt. 2nd edition. Re-released by Corridor Digital. I've actually talked to the guys at Corridor Digital once. They all seem so cool. And they recently had an editing contest. Not a contest. They were accepting applications from people who do video editing and video work, that kind of stuff. And I downloaded a bunch of the footage and looked at it and decided that I hate video editing and I'm not going to do it anymore. So I'm just done with that kind of thing. So I like got all prepared to like try and send them an application and do a bunch of other stuff, and they never even received it. They don't even know I exist. Because I was just like, I don't want to do this. I don't want to. I mean, it could be an amazing experience to go down there and work with them and get, you know, film stuff and yada yada yada, but I don't want to do video editing anymore. I'm tired of it. Video editing and like video work and trying to do visual storytelling and all that kind of stuff, while still amazing and interesting, and I love doing like analysis and trying to come up with my own stories, like I don't think I actually want to do that anymore. So that was an interesting little moment that I just had a little while ago. But yes, that's part of what I was saying. Like 2019 is like the year where I am the most different that I've ever been, I feel. And I feel like pretty much in all ways that's for the better. I get along with just about everybody now. I try not to annoy my friends, but like I've been basically alone in this house for a couple years now with just my dad here, and it's like sometimes 3 months will go by where I won't see another human being, another person that I am not related to, that's not my grandma or my dad. And it's like, so I started playing like Pokemon Go a couple months ago, and it was nice to go out and like meet some people and all that kind of stuff, but it's just cold and crappy and rainy, and I don't want to go outside and all this stuff. I just hate it. That kind of thing. But like, even that now doesn't bother me anymore. Like, yeah, it's cold and crappy, and I'm not going to go outside for 6 months, but, you know, because it's cold to me. It's like 40 degrees, like most people are fine. But I'm not going to go outside in that. Look, it's blue and cold. And in here, it's warm and nice. What the heck was I talking about? Oh, yeah. This. Top 10 games you could play in your head by yourself. So this is a real gaming book. The game of it isn't necessarily a game. It's more like a self-storytelling book. Like, it's more of like choose your own adventure, but all of the choices that you, like all the options that you have to choose between, you also come up with those. And that's really hard for me to do, I've discovered. So like, when I was first diagnosed with ADHD 4 or 5 years ago, where I didn't believe the guy, and like, is my camera just not focusing? Maybe I'm just holding it too close. Maybe my glasses and it's blurry to me. So like, I didn't believe my therapist and like the people I was working with, my doctors and stuff. He's like, you have ADHD. And I was like, I'm pretty sure I don't. I know lots of people who are diagnosed with ADHD, and we're not alike. But this has probably been the best evidence for me to have ADHD, aside from the fact that I've taken ADHD medication and it helps. So like, sort of by definition, like I have it, right? Like I can take an amphetamine, and instead of it making you like hyperactive and crazy, it mellows you out a little bit and just takes the edges off, which is, you know, basically the definition of having a non-neurotypical makeup. But anyway, trying to go through this book. I just got it yesterday. It just came out. You can order it off Amazon for $20. Link below, except I'm not actually going to put the link there because I'm lazy. You can Google it. You're a smart person. If you want it, you probably already have it. But so it's the words and stuff like aren't super large. Like, it doesn't really take a long time to like go through any like one module in this thing. Pardon me. And like, so I mean, the first 8 pages basically are like how to play this book. It takes a couple minutes to read. And then all the rest of the things are these modules that you play through. Adventure, space, dungeons, trucks, the visitor, the Alamo, murder night, your job, chess, another life. Another life, by the way, seems like it would be really interesting, but it's also kind of... Nothing in this book is easy for me to do. Because I have ADHD, and like just in the last day or two, just since last night when I first read the book, and then today trying to like consider some of the stuff in it, like it basically gives you like certain premises, gives you some example options, stuff that you can do, but the whole point is just you using your imagination to like go on a full and completed story. And it's, you know, not really a game to me at all. Like, games have certain rules and a certain amount of, you know, chance might be mixed in or something like that. But this is just like a launch pad, like a runway that you go down and hit all the milestones and all the checkpoints and stuff, and then at some point you're supposed to take off and go on your own like mental journeys and stuff. And that is practically impossible for me, that I've discovered so far. So I went through the first part of the book, which they, explain the book, and then they have like a small sample exercise that you kind of do to help you get into the right framework of how this thing works. And that wasn't really bad or anything special. It's actually really similar to a lot of like other mental exercises that I've done in some capacity. So I started into the first module, adventure. So I started into that, and basically, they kind of set up the scene, who, what, where, when, why, questions that like, try to get you into the story, and then you basically, go on the adventure in your head. You're in my brain, because I still think in like scripts and visual storytelling. It basically just like generates a movie. So by the time I get finished reading the like prep work, and then you're supposed to start, I'm already done in my head. And the second I start trying to like, do any of the stuff that I've prepared to do for this like scenario, as soon as I start the adventure, as it were, in the one called Adventure, it's already done. It's already over. And I'm already like, all right, well, time to go on to the next one. And like, even that was like a weird experience. So I was like, all right, we'll stop, we'll slow down, I'll go back and like, kind of give it another go, try and flesh out some more of the details in some of the story and stuff that I've come up with. And like, it's all fine and good, it's all lovely, right until about 3 seconds in, where my ADHD brain starts thinking about something else. And the second I stop like focusing specifically on the attention put into that thing, the whole thing just falls apart, and I'm back, in reality, or thinking about something else or doing something else. And it's like, that's been the most, reaffirmed proof to me that I have ADHD, and is like, oh, I can't actually do the games in this gaming book called Top 10 Games You Could Play in Your Head by Yourself. For me, it's more like top 10 writing prompts that I could use to try and generate a story, because if I don't write it down specifically for the purposes of being able to go back and look at it, the second my brain is just like, man, I'm kind of hungry, or whatever, everything just falls apart. And so like, I wonder if I would have more fun or a better time trying to experience the things in this book if I instead used it specifically as a writing prompt and just wrote everything down from the book, or not from the book, or if I wrote everything down that is supposed to be taking place in my head like a book, so I could go back and read it later and then get back up to that point and is like, oh yeah, okay, what happens next? Because like, I can remember specific stuff, but it's just like, it's over, right? Like the whole story was over by the time it got to like the word go, right? So when you finish prepping a story, there's one page that's like, asks you a bunch of questions and then has a big go word on it. And then you're supposed to just, close your eyes, or I actually do better with my eyes open, and then basically just live out the fantasy in your own imagination. And then there's a page after that that's like, sort of a recap of your adventure or whatever. And like, I got to the word go and I was already done with the story, which I don't want to ruin the book, because I like the guys, and if you're at all interested in it, I think you should buy it. But I am going to tell you my story in adventure. So if you don't want to hear that, which I recommend if you are at all interested in this book, go through it yourself first once. There's actually even stories in the back from people that they like interviewed and stuff. So like there's, hi kitty, I'm talking about a book, you're in the way. So there's like pages in the back that have like other people's stories that they've sort of collected and written down, and there's some acknowledgments and that kind of stuff. So I will tell you my adventure, and you tell me if it's any good. I'm actually, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to upload this right now, so thanks for watching. My next video will be my adventure, because it's probably going to be longer than this video. So if you're at all interested in that, smash the like and subscribe button. Love you guys. Thanks for watching. Have a wonderful time, and I'll see you soon.